Chosen one, hear me with the ears of your spirit. You did not stumble upon this moment by accident. Heaven arranged this encounter before time began. Every second, every breath that led you here was orchestrated by divine design. You are standing at the threshold of something holy, a supernatural turning point where what was delayed will finally be delivered. The Father has seen your tears, your patience, your endurance, when everything in you wanted to quit. And now, He is sending this word to awaken your faith once more. Anointed One, this is not just a message, it is a divine summons. You are standing on the edge of a breakthrough that carries financial power, emotional restoration, and spiritual elevation. The wealth transfer you've prayed for is not coming. It's here, waiting for your agreement. As Deuteronomy 8:18 declares, it is God who gives you the power to get wealth, and that power is stirring inside you right now. Chosen one, lift your spirit. Heaven has not forgotten you. This is your confirmation, your activation, your moment to rise. Stay until the end, because the revelation that follows will realign everything concerning your destiny. Chosen one, listen carefully. The person on your heart right now is not random. That connection didn't appear by coincidence. It was written into your story before you were even born. When your life crossed paths with theirs, heaven was moving. God orchestrated that moment as part of your divine timeline. It wasn't about romance or comfort. It was about purpose. Every word exchanged, every silence, even the distance between you, all of it carries meaning. Anointed one, I've walked through this myself. I know what it feels like to carry a connection that doesn't make sense in the natural. There were nights I cried, asking God, if you joined this, why does it hurt so much? But I learned that when something carries eternal weight, it attracts warfare. The enemy never fights what doesn't threaten him, he fights what's anointed. That's why the pressure has been so heavy. It's not punishment, it's proof. Proof that the bond is divine, that something powerful is being birthed through this struggle. Think back to when you first met them. You felt peace, familiarity, maybe even destiny. That was heaven's fingerprint. But what started as light has become fire. And now you're standing in the middle of a storm, wondering if it's time to let go. Hear me clearly, don't. The enemy wants you to walk away before you see what this was all for. Because when two chosen ones remain united, they become a force that breaks generational curses and opens doors for others. Chosen one, the silence is not absence, it's strategy. God is working in the unseen, softening hearts, aligning timing, and teaching you patience. Don't mistake stillness for abandonment. Roots grow underground before the fruit appears, and right now, God is building those roots. The very tension you feel is a sign that the breakthrough is near. I know the waiting feels unbearable. You're tired, confused, even questioning if you heard God right. But this is your final test of endurance. Heaven is watching to see if you will trust beyond understanding. If you quit now, you may walk away one day before your miracle. Hold steady. The pain you feel is not the end, it's the stretching before expansion. Chosen one, lift your head. This is not falling apart. This is falling into divine order. The connection still stands because heaven hasn't released you from it. Don't surrender what God has assigned. Stay in prayer. Speak life, not frustration. Bless instead of complain. Because when you shift your focus from pain to purpose, you activate the supernatural. The enemy is terrified of what will happen if you stay faithful. And heaven is ready to reward your endurance. You are standing on sacred ground. Don't walk away. In the next moment, we'll go deeper into why the warfare is so intense and how God is turning this battle into your greatest breakthrough. Chosen One. Listen, the intensity you've been feeling lately is not a coincidence. The sleepless nights, the emotional weight, the sudden waves of doubt, all of it is evidence that something holy is under attack. The enemy doesn't fight what's meaningless. He targets what carries divine potential. And this connection, this person on your heart, carries a purpose that heaven refuses to let die. Anointed One, what you're facing is not just conflict between two people. It's a spiritual battle for destiny. The moment your paths crossed, hell took notice. Because two anointed souls aligned in obedience to God create a power the enemy cannot imitate. Unity under divine command. That's why confusion tries to creep in. That's why silence feels unbearable. The enemy whispers, "It's over," when in truth, it's just beginning. You see, the enemy has no power to destroy what God joins, only to deceive you into walking away. His favorite tactic is exhaustion. He doesn't strike you with one blow. He wears you down with small disappointments, subtle lies, and emotional storms until you start believing the voice of fear instead of the promise of faith. But remember this, Chosen One, discernment is your shield. God's voice never pushes you into panic. It pulls you into peace. I've been there. I know the ache of standing in faith for something that seems impossible. There were days I told God, I can't keep doing this, only to feel His quiet whisper, "You're closer than you think." And He was right. The pressure you're under right now is not proof of failure. It's the sign that the promise is about to manifest. It's always darkest before the dawn, and right now, heaven is breaking that dawn open for you. Chosen One, understand this. You're not just waiting for restoration. You're being trained for reign. God is shaping your patience, sharpening your discernment, and deepening your compassion. You're learning not to love for comfort, but to love with purpose. The kind of love that can carry legacy, not just emotion. This connection is preparing you to steward abundance, favor, and divine influence. And yes, there are moments when you want to quit. But every time you try, your spirit aches, because something inside knows you're not meant to give up. That ache is heaven reminding you that destiny doesn't dissolve in difficulty, it matures through it. Anointed One, heaven is moving behind the curtain. The unseen realm is alive with motion. Angels are at work even as you listen now. The silence is not God's absence, it's His setup. He's orchestrating transformation on both sides. You're being refined, and so is the one connected to you. Do not let discouragement write the final chapter. The battle is proof of how much power this union holds. The enemy is terrified of the ripple effect your obedience will release. Healing in families, restoration in generations, faith revived in hearts that had gone cold. This is not small. This is kingdom-level warfare. So, Chosen One, stand firm, pray like a warrior, love like a servant, trust like a child, and hold on as heaven finishes what it started. In the next part, we'll go deeper into how to fight this battle, not with emotion, but with authority. Because this time, you're not just surviving the storm, you're commanding it. Chosen One, now that you understand why the warfare is so intense, it's time to learn how to fight, not as a victim, but as a vessel of authority. The battle you're in is not meant to drain you. It's meant to train you. Heaven is not asking you to swing at shadows or argue with flesh. This fight is spiritual, and your greatest weapon is alignment with God's voice. Anointed One, your first act of warfare is prayer. Not the rushed kind whispered in frustration, but prayer that anchors your spirit in heaven's reality. When you pray for that person, don't focus on their flaws or your pain. Speak life. Bless their name. Ask God to fill them with clarity, peace, and obedience. The enemy cannot thrive in an atmosphere of blessing. When you choose to bless, you starve the darkness that feeds on bitterness. And I say this from experience. There was a time when I thought arguing would fix what prayer could not, but every word spoken in anger left me emptier. It wasn't until I fell to my knees and whispered their name to God, no accusations, no demands, just surrender, that things began to shift. Peace entered where confusion once lived, because prayer doesn't always change people first. It changes you. Chosen One, your second weapon is silence. Not the silence of avoidance, but the silence of wisdom. You don't have to defend yourself when heaven is already speaking for you. Sometimes the loudest act of faith is saying nothing at all. Let your restraint become proof of your strength. The enemy thrives on reaction, but he has no strategy against peace. When you remain still, you allow God to fight in your place. Third, you must clothe yourself with patience. Yes, patience is warfare. It is the refusal to rush God's timing. It's the quiet declaration that says, I trust you, even when I don't understand. Waiting does not mean weakness, it means wisdom. Every day you choose patience, you reinforce heaven's timeline over your own. Remember this, delay is not denial. God uses delay to prepare both hearts for divine alignment. And here is a truth that might pierce you. Sometimes God hides progress so your pride won't sabotage it. What you think is silence is often God protecting something sacred from premature exposure. Don't dig up what He's still growing. The seed cannot survive if you keep checking the soil. Anointed One, heaven has assigned angels to your endurance. Every time you hold your tongue, heaven records it. Every time you forgive instead of accuse, heaven applauds it. Every time you choose faith over frustration, heaven strengthens your foundation. The unseen realm moves when you do. You're not just waiting, you're warring with your stillness. This is what it means to fight from victory, not for it. God already wrote the ending. The outcome is sealed. Your only task is to remain in position until the promise appears. Chosen One, this battle isn't meant to break you. It's meant to build your authority. You are learning to speak like heaven, to act like grace, to stand like faith. And when this season ends, you won't just have restoration, you'll have revelation. You'll understand why the fire had to burn, because it purified what's coming next. Stay close, Anointed One. In the next part, we'll go deeper into what happens when the breakthrough begins, how God takes the ashes of what was painful and turns them into proof that His promise never fails. Chosen One, hear me. The very moment you choose not to quit, heaven begins to move. Your persistence becomes a signal to the spiritual realm that you are ready for release. What once looked silent suddenly starts to shift. The same doors that refuse to open will begin to creak. The same hearts that turned cold will begin to soften. Because faith, when it endures, creates motion in the invisible. Anointed One, this is the stage where everything feels contradictory. You may still see no change. You may still feel tension, distance, or uncertainty. But make no mistake, this is the shaking that comes before manifestation. Every divine promise requires birth, and birth always comes with pressure. Don't misinterpret pain as punishment. It's the sound of new life pushing through. I remember the moment breakthrough first touched my life. It didn't arrive with fireworks or applause. It came quietly, through a text I almost ignored, a door I almost didn't knock on, a conversation that seemed ordinary but carried destiny. That's how God moves. Subtle, strategic, supernatural. If you blink too soon, you'll call it coincidence. But the spiritually awake know better. They recognize the divine fingerprints in the smallest details. Chosen one. This is where discernment becomes vital. When breakthrough begins, the enemy will try to create imitation blessings. Counterfeits will appear, easier paths, convenient exits, distractions wrapped in comfort. You must stay anchored in prayer so you can distinguish the real from the false. The true blessing carries peace, not pressure. It draws you closer to God, not further from Him. Heaven is not just restoring what was lost, it's upgrading what was delayed. What you thought you lost in time, God is repaying in acceleration. Where there was confusion, there will be clarity. Where there was distance, there will be divine alignment. The person on your heart is not forgotten, they are being refined. You are not waiting in vain. You are being positioned for a reunion rooted in purpose, not pain. Anointed one. The breakthrough season is sacred. Do not rush it. God's timing is a masterpiece. Every delay has built endurance in you. Every silence has deepened your dependence. Now heaven is preparing a stage for restoration that will leave no doubt who orchestrated it. You will stand in awe, realizing that the very storm that almost broke you was the one that brought you here. So hold on to your assignment. Stay in prayer. Speak blessings daily, even when you don't feel them. The heavens respond to consistency. The angels move on the command of faith. You've planted seeds with your tears, and the soil of obedience is finally ready to bear fruit. Chosen one. Breakthrough doesn't always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it begins with a shift in your peace, when what used to trouble you no longer shakes you. That's when you know heaven is near. The old version of you is gone. The fear that once ruled you is losing its grip. You are walking lighter because grace has taken over the weight. This is the promise. God is not just bringing restoration to your connection. He's bringing resurrection to your spirit. You're not returning to what was. You're stepping into what's new. The battle refined you, but the blessing will redefine you. Stay close, anointed one. In the next part, we'll explore what happens when the promise fully manifests, how to carry your restoration with wisdom, humility, and power, so that this victory becomes not just your testimony, but a legacy that touches generations. Chosen one. When the promise finally unfolds before your eyes, it may not appear the way you imagined, it will appear better. God never gives back what was broken in the same condition. He rebuilds it with glory. When heaven restores, it doesn't repair fragments. It creates something brand new out of what was surrendered. That's why your waiting season was long, not because God was fixing what was lost, but because He was transforming what was meant to last. Anointed one. Now your heart begins to sense divine alignment. The situation that once drained you now brings peace. The person who once caused pain now reflects purpose. It isn't because they changed first. It's because you did. God had to shift your heart posture before He could shift your partnership. You've learned to love without control, to believe without seeing, and to forgive without being asked. Those are the rare currencies of heaven, and they are what prepared you for this moment. When the promise manifests, you'll know it in your spirit before you see it in your sight. The atmosphere around you shifts. Chaos that once followed you becomes still. Opportunities align effortlessly, and timing feels sacred instead of stressful. That's how you'll know heaven's fingerprints are all over it. Chosen one, do not rush the revelation. When God gives you what you prayed for, don't grab it with fear, carry it with wisdom. What you're holding is not a trophy, it's a trust. You weren't blessed to boast, you were blessed to serve. This restoration, this divine connection, this supernatural transfer, it's not only about you, it's about the generations that will be touched because you stayed faithful. I remember when God restored something I thought was gone forever. I was grateful, but I was afraid. Afraid it wouldn't last. Afraid I'd lose it again. But then the Holy Spirit whispered, "This time, you're not walking in anxiety, you're walking in authority." And that changed everything. I realized the true miracle wasn't what came back. It was who I became while waiting. Anointed one, when the blessing appears, stay humble. Don't announce what God did, embody it. Let your peace preach louder than your explanations. Those who doubted you will see the evidence in your fruit. Those who wronged you will witness your rise and know that it was God. This is your Joseph moment. The ones who once underestimated you will one day thank you, and you will respond not with pride, but with mercy. Chosen one, this blessing is not temporary, it's generational. The same hands that once held sorrow will now hold abundance. The same mouth that once prayed through tears will now speak with authority. Everything that once broke you will now bow before your breakthrough. But guard your promise. Protect it from pride, from distraction, from careless voices that cannot comprehend its value. Not everyone will understand this season, and that's fine. This is not for their validation, it's for your destiny. Your story is not over, chosen one. It has just begun. Heaven is unfolding the next chapter of your divine calling, and this time, you'll walk in wisdom, wealth, and unstoppable grace. Chosen one, now that your breakthrough has appeared, heaven is watching how you carry it. The story didn't end when the blessing came, it began again on higher ground. What you do after the miracle matters just as much as what you did while waiting for it. The season of manifestation is not a time to relax, it's a time to walk with reverence. Because every answered prayer must now be managed with wisdom, or it can slip away through neglect. Anointed one, you are standing in answered prayer. The peace you once begged for is here. The connection you thought was gone has been restored. The storm that nearly broke you has cleared. But hear this, blessings without boundaries can become burdens. You prayed for favor, and God delivered, but every divine gift carries divine responsibility. Don't let comfort make you careless. What you hold in your hands was born through fire, through tears, through intercession. Treat it with honor. Speak to it with grace. Protect it through prayer. I've witnessed many lose what heaven entrusted to them because they stopped doing what brought the blessing. They prayed for restoration, but stopped seeking intimacy with the restorer. They cried for favor, but forgot the humility that invited it. They assumed the oil would keep flowing, even when the altar grew cold. But chosen one, favor is sustained by gratitude, and oil continues to flow only where humility remains. Never let answered prayer silence your dependence on the one who answered. This is your testing ground of maturity. God didn't bless you to make you comfortable, He blessed you to make you credible. He's showing the world what faithfulness looks like through you. The way you steward this season will determine the level of your next elevation. Be patient, discerning, and peaceful, because others are watching how you walk in blessing. Let your composure, become a sermon. Let your gratitude be your ministry. And know this, the same enemy that tried to block your breakthrough will now try to corrupt it. He'll attempt to twist the blessing into distraction. He'll whisper pride into your progress, anxiety into your peace, suspicion into your joy. You'll feel subtle irritation or confusion and wonder why. It's because warfare never ends. It simply changes its disguise. The fight now is not for manifestation, but for maintenance. So how do you overcome? Stay anchored. Keep your prayer life alive. Don't stop worshiping just because you received what you asked for. Prayer is no longer your plea, it's your protection. Worship is not desperation, it's recognition. Keep your altar burning even in abundance. Keep your heart soft, your ears sensitive, your spirit humble. Anointed one, I say this from my own journey. When God restored me, I thought the hard part was over. But then I learned, carrying blessing requires more discipline than carrying pain. Pain drives you to your knees. Blessing tests if you'll stay there once the tears have dried. That's how heaven measures maturity. God doesn't only want to bless you, He wants to trust you. Chosen one, walk wisely. React less, respond from spirit. Seek peace before you speak. Remember, the one you prayed for is still growing, still healing, still human. Love them through grace, not perfection. Heaven didn't restore you to return you to comfort. It restored you to propel you into purpose. You are not just a receiver of grace, you are now a representative of it. Guard this promise as treasure, because what you carry is not just blessing, it's proof that faith still works and obedience still opens heaven. Chosen one. Every true victory transforms the vessel that carries it. You cannot experience the power of God and remain the same. The moment you step into answered prayer, heaven begins shaping you for a greater mission. This season is not the end of the story. It's the beginning of a new chapter, one that requires a stronger spirit, a wiser heart, and deeper humility. Anointed one, triumph is not only about what you gained, it's about who you became. You've been refined through waiting, purified through warfare, and matured through surrender. Now you are standing as someone who has walked through the fire and come out glowing with grace. But hear this truth. When God elevates you, He expects you to reflect Him. The blessing wasn't given just to comfort you, but to confirm your calling. You are now carrying anointing that others will feel just by being near you. People will notice your peace, your discernment, your light. Even when you say nothing, that's because victory changes your spiritual frequency. You've moved from survival to sovereignty, from pleading to partnering. Heaven now trusts you with influence, and influence is holy ground. But be careful, chosen one. The enemy will try to use your victory against you. He'll whisper pride into your progress, distraction into your purpose. He'll tempt you to forget the wilderness that built your wisdom. Remember this, elevation without humility becomes erosion. Guard your heart from arrogance. Let gratitude remain your language. Speak less about what you have and more about who gave it to you. I've lived this lesson. When God began to promote me, the applause was louder, but so was the testing. The higher you rise, the more subtle the warfare becomes. It shifts from obvious attacks to disguised distractions. That's why your intimacy with God must stay deeper than your influence. Never allow public success to outgrow private surrender. Anointed one, transformation after triumph also means learning to pour into others. You were refined not just for your own restoration, but to be a restorer of others. There are people connected to your obedience. Your testimony will become their roadmap out of darkness. The same encouragement you once needed will now flow through you. You've been trusted with scars so others can be healed by your transparency. Chosen One, your story is no longer just personal, it's prophetic. Every breakthrough you've lived carries revelation for someone else. That's why you must keep walking in compassion. Don't isolate your victory, multiply it. When you share your process, the waiting, the pain, the surrender, you give others permission to believe that God can do the same for them. The greatest transformation of all is this: you now operate from rest, not striving. You've learned that the same God who carried you through the storm will sustain you in the calm. You don't chase outcomes anymore, you host presence. You're no longer begging heaven to move. Heaven is moving through you. That's maturity. That's mastery. That's divine transformation. So walk differently now. Speak with authority, but stay gentle. Lead with boldness, but remain teachable. Love with depth, but without attachment to outcome. You're not who you were when this started. You are a carrier of divine wisdom, a living testimony that obedience always leads to overflow. Stay tuned, Anointed One. In the next and final part, we'll bring it all together. How to live from overflow, how to sustain your divine alignment, and how to ensure that the fire God started in you never fades, but continues to light generations after you. Chosen One, this is the season heaven promised you, the season of overflow. You've prayed, you've waited, you've endured, and now the evidence of your faith is appearing. But remember, overflow is not just about blessings falling into your hands. It's about the person you've become through the process. God didn't just prepare the promise for you, He prepared you for the promise. Anointed One, overflow begins in your spirit, not your bank account. God had to empty you first of pride, fear, and impatience, so that when the blessing came, it wouldn't destroy you. Every delay expanded your capacity to receive. Every heartbreak made room for humility. Every unanswered prayer strengthened your trust. You were not being punished. You were being positioned. Now, doors will open with ease. Opportunities will find you. The same ground where you once sowed in tears will now yield joy and provision. You are walking in answered prayer, but not because of luck. This is divine recompense. Heaven has recorded every moment you remained faithful when quitting felt easier, and now the reward is being released. Chosen One, never forget. The overflow is not for luxury, it's for legacy. God is blessing you so you can bless others. The restoration of your relationship, the return of peace, the rise of resources, they are all tools to serve a greater kingdom purpose. You're not called to hoard favor, you're called to distribute it. You are a vessel, not a vault. But the same God who gives overflow also expects stewardship. Guard your heart in this season. Stay humble in success and prayerful in abundance. Gratitude keeps your hands open. Pride shuts heaven's flow. Keep reminding yourself, it was never your strength, it was always His grace. Every morning, speak this truth. God, keep me a vessel you can trust. Anointed One, you've crossed from striving into alignment. You don't chase miracles anymore. Miracles flow through you. You don't seek validation. You walk in divine assurance. This is what overflow feels like. Peace that doesn't depend on circumstance, joy that doesn't fade, and provision that seems to multiply effortlessly. So walk boldly, but gently. Speak with power, but stay tender. You are now living proof that faith still moves mountains, and obedience still opens heaven. Let your life become a testimony that reminds others, Waiting on God is never wasted time. Chosen one, the journey was never about what you lost, it was about who you became. Now go, live from the overflow, love deeply, give freely, lead wisely. And let every step you take declare that the God who promised has fulfilled. Your season of struggle has ended. Your season of supernatural abundance has begun. Chosen one, as this word comes to a close, pause and breathe in this truth. Heaven has already moved on your behalf. The transfer has begun. What you've prayed for in secret is now shifting into sight. You are standing in your Kairos moment, the divine intersection of faith and fulfillment. Nothing is out of order. Every delay, every silence, every tear has been recalculated by God into alignment with destiny. Anointed one, this is your confirmation. The promise is alive. What was once fragile is now fortified. The person, the purpose, the provision, all of it is being restored with divine precision. You do not need to strive. You only need to stay in position. Remain faithful. Remain expectant. Heaven's timeline is perfect, and your obedience has activated it. So as you leave this message, carry this prophetic decree in your heart. I will not give up. I will not turn back. I will not let go of what God has joined. Say it aloud. Write it below as your seal of faith. Let heaven see your agreement, and let hell hear your resolve. Chosen one, lift your head. Your story is still unfolding. Your blessing is already traveling toward you, and your endurance has not been in vain. May peace guard your spirit, favor surround your steps, and grace escort you into your next divine chapter. Stay aligned, stay anointed, and remember, victory is already written in your name.